Well, all right, all right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. And tonight, we're talking about all things automotive industry, the car guy hobby, all the things that automotive enthusiasts are most interested in talking about. Cars, cars, cars. Listen, this is the home of real gearhead talk. Real gearhead talk. This is the place to be for car guys and for automotive enthusiasts and car girls. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to all my subscribers. You know your buddy CJ loves y'all. So appreciative, so grateful for each and every one of you. Guys, if you're not a part of the Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram, please follow Hot Seat Gearheads. Guys, keep those comments coming. Give me a like and subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, we have a lot of fun around here. And guys, let's get right into it. Tonight, what I thought we would do is talk about a couple of things that are going around in automotive news, things that I think are relevant to us as car guys, as truck guys, as automotive enthusiasts, just things of interest to your automotive enthusiast. Brought to you by your buddy CJ here at Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. And what I'd love you to do is to leave me comments, guys, but let's go ahead and get right into this. Look at this thing. Guys, what are we looking at here? Chevy has announced the first Chevy Silverado EV aimed at consumers, okay? This is not a fleet-centric vehicle, but a consumer-centric vehicle. And this launch edition of the EV Silverado is going to be badged as an RST trim. Okay, this thing's going to be loaded up. Look at the styling. I think it's a beautiful truck. Let's get into some of the particulars. You're looking at about a 440-mile range estimated by Chevrolet. Now, we know how these EV ranges are. You know, they're manufacturer estimates based on the testing that's done in the lab, not necessarily a reflection of what you're actually going to see on the road. Okay, but they actually upped the range for the Chevy Silverado RST. Was originally at about 400-mile range. Now they're saying 440-mile range. You're getting a heads-up display. You're getting a 17-inch infotainment plus an 11-inch driver info screen. Okay, this thing's going to have four-wheel steering. This is going to have hands-free driver assist. Okay, you're looking at an EV with somewhere on the order of 745 horsepower and 785 foot-pound of torque. They're talking about 0 to 60, get this, sub 5 seconds. 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds in this full-size Chevy Silverado RST EV pickup truck. Now the bad news, guys. You're looking at a $96,000 EV pickup truck. Originally, they were going to cost, get this, $106,000 MSRP. Chevy walked that back, and they're going to offer this at $96,500. This thing's going to have a 10,000-pound towing capacity and a 1,300-pound payload capacity. So the question remains, right? Given the option, would you go for Chevy Silverado RST EV or a Tesla Cybertruck? Interesting comparison, isn't it? Listen, the Chevy Silverado RST here, EV, is definitely giving you some of those classic Chevy pickup aesthetics, but kind of updated with some modern lines to it and the way the body contours and everything. It really is a sharp, kind of futuristic, aerodynamic looking pickup truck. The fact that it's EV may turn some of you guys off. I know, I totally get it. Having said that, if you had to go with a full-size EV pickup truck, leave me comments. Would you go with the Chevy Silverado, or might you consider the extremely polarizing Tesla Cybertruck? You guys let me know. Interesting comparison. Look, we're looking at $100,000 EV pickup trucks. You know, the big dollar stuff, right, guys? But listen, to me, this looks like RoboCop's pickup truck. Is this thing high-tech or what? We're looking at RoboCop's pickup truck. Come on. Does this thing look like a RoboCop vehicle? Tell your buddy CJ if he's off base. Come on, guys. We're having fun. Let's keep going. What else is in the news? What else is in the news? You know, here on Hot Seat Automotive Podcast, we like looking at these things together. And while we're talking about trucks, on this theme, let's keep going. Mitsubishi and Nissan have a corporate alliance going, and they've already started working together. They are looking to aggressively target the American market, okay? And they want to break into the full-size pickup truck realm. So Mitsubishi and Nissan are going to come together to build the next generation full-size pickup, we're looking at full EV plus plug-in hybrid versions. Here's the catch, right? They want to get into the American market with these new vehicles due to tariffs, okay? They can't manufacture them in Japan if they want to avoid that 25% tariff to sell the vehicles in the United States. So what are they going to do? They plan on building these in Mexico. If they build them in Mexico, they can get around that 25% tariff and get after that target American full-size pickup market. Now, having said that, this is an election year, right? And we don't get political on this podcast. You guys know that. We car guys around here. But depending on which way the election goes, if we get Republicans in the White House and so on and so forth, we may see some tariffs implemented to prevent, foreign automobile manufacturers from doing just this. Again, I don't care where you sit politically, and I don't care to tell you where I sit, but it's going to kind of depend. This is either going to be a good bet for Mitsubishi and Nissan, or it's not going to work out. China is also building factories in Mexico with the objective of avoiding tariffs and easily being able to sell vehicles into the American market. So we'll see what happens. Election year, going to be kind of interesting. A couple things to know is that this Mitsubishi Nissan jointly developed pickup, both EV and plug-in hybrid versions, going to be available somewhere between 2027 and 2031. So it's going to be a while. Okay, but interesting to note that here's two large Japanese automotive manufacturers coming together to look for a way to bring a product to that American market and get a piece of the action around full-size pickups. Interesting times. Over the next few years, we're going to have a lot of options if you're in the market for full-size pickups. Let me know what you guys think. Guys, let's keep going, because who has more fun than us tonight talking all this automotive news? Are you kidding me? Guys, something else in the news. This terrible tragedy of the bridge collapse in Baltimore. Now, this has been covered extensively in the news and media, and I'm not going to repeat all the particulars, but I think in addition to the loss of human life, dear Lord, just absolutely terrible. We won't dwell on that on this podcast. What we're going to talk about, though, is perhaps some of the broader impacts impacting, for example, our beloved automotive industry. Globally, the supply chain, distribution, and shipping of new vehicles inbound to the United States and potentially outbound. What are we looking at here? In this photo, we've got a very large auto hauler vessel owned and operated by Wallenius Wilhelmsen. I know I butchered that, guys. Shame on me for butchering the name of the company, but I'm going to pronounce it Wallenius Wilhelmsen. How do you like that? This ship is the Carmen. This ship, built in 2011, I thought it was kind of interesting. This ship, built in 2011, it's about a 700-foot vessel, okay? This ship can hold somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 automobiles, depending on configuration. Are you kidding me? Here's a ship, an ocean-going auto hauler that can transport 5,000 to 8,000 vehicles across the globe. This one happens to be stuck in Baltimore right now. Apparently, the Carmen had unloaded all of its vehicles in Baltimore. However, it didn't get out of port before the tragic bridge collapse. So right now, the Carmen is trapped in Baltimore together with other vessels and can't get out, okay? And who knows what the timeline is going to be to get this out. So what I will tell you is, and just thinking about the broader impact on supply chain, on the automotive industry, on other industries, the Norwegian company, Wallenius Wilhelmsen, has said that they expect to take somewhere between a $5 and $10 million hit to their business based on the Baltimore bridge collapse. So think about that, $5 to $10 million loss caused by this catastrophe. So if you don't think that has a ripple effect on the automotive industry, on global supply chain, and others, this is just one example. Of course, it has a significant impact. Did you know the Baltimore port ranks first in terms of automotive traffic coming in on ships? So tremendous traffic dependency, shipping dependencies into Baltimore related to vehicles. Again, the Carmen itself can hold 5 to 8,000 vehicles. So by that ship being trapped in that Baltimore port every day, every hour, tremendous cost, tremendous loss for Wallenius Wilhelmsen. Of course, it impacts their customers, automobile manufacturers, impacts dealers, okay? Impacts all of those dependent industry sectors and subsectors. It impacts you and I as the automotive enthusiast and as the consumer. Now, of course, they're able to reroute traffic. And, I'm sure folks are burning daylight right now and working midnight, burning midnight oil, so to speak, to reroute all these ships and to make up for the volume at other ports, whether it's Savannah, so on and so forth. Having said that, here's a very large ship, 700-foot ship, stuck in Baltimore because of this tragedy. So, guys, just thought I'd share that with you. Kind of interesting, and certainly feel terrible for the loss of life caused by this catastrophe. Guys, let's keep going with a bit more automotive news. All right, guys, how about this? The end of an era for Volvo. Volvo has stopped producing diesel engines. Did you know that for the past 45 years, Volvo has been producing cars and SUVs with diesel engines, but no more? Volvo intends on going all EV by 2030. It's estimated that Volvo has produced somewhere on the order of 9 million diesel vehicles. Okay. Apparently, due to poor record keeping, they can't give you an accurate number, but it was 1979 when Volvo produced its first diesel vehicle, and the last vehicle just rolled off the assembly line in Sweden. Okay, what we're looking at here is an XC90, and apparently this last diesel vehicle is going to go on display in a museum, Volvo Museum in Sweden. Okay, but that's it. No more diesels for Volvo, and that was kind of their thing. They were known as the big safe vehicle, right? We all know that. Kind of quirky vehicles, if you will, for lack of a better term, but they were also known for the diesels. And, I think, guys, one of the tragedies here with all of this green legislation and the move to EV and hybrid, the incredible progress and evolution that automotive manufacturers, including Volvo, had made with the diesel platform. We think of diesel sometimes as these smoky, old, engines and power plants that would power cat diesel vehicles and dump trucks back in the day, blowing all that black smoke. That's just not the case. Over the decades, we've got clean diesels. Okay, whether it's Mercedes-Benz or whether it's Volvo, other manufacturers, highly efficient diesels. In Europe, are you kidding me? Diesel's a big thing, right? And they've really, in so many ways, perfected it. Perfection might be a strong word, but the diesels have gotten so much better, so much cleaner, so much more efficient. And here it is, Volvo walking away from it. Just of interesting, sort of spec here to note. Going back to 2008, Volvo produced a 1.6 liter diesel engine that, whether it was in a car or an SUV, could get 800 miles on a tank of diesel fuel. Okay. And here we are, bleeding edge with EVs where you got range anxiety, right? And manufacturers' estimates aren't really panning out for some of these EVs. It's still early days, yet there's a push to move, full steam ahead towards EV. And as you probably can tell, I'm not a fan of the mandatory push towards EV. I believe, and I've predicted, and I'm going to talk to you in just a couple minutes, your buddy CJ's prediction was right, that much of these requirements coming from, governmental agencies such as the EPA in the United States, they're going to be walked back. They have to be. They have to be. The government push is ahead of consumer demand. Consumers aren't ready for all these EVs. We'd rather have our Volvo diesels. We'd rather have our internal combustion gas engines, okay, that are now highly efficient compared to what they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. Why not go hybrid? Why the hard push towards EV? For a political narrative, perhaps? Okay, yes, they're cool. Yes, they're innovative in so many ways, but I don't want them rammed down my throat. And knowing you car guys and car girls out there, automotive enthusiasts aren't taking a shine to them. I do think they're interesting from a technology and innovation standpoint. And would I own an EV? Yes, there are certain EVs that I would own. I've test driven a bunch. I've driven hybrids. I'm not adverse to it, but on my own time, I want to get one. Okay? I think the government is way, way, way out of bounds on this one. And I think the walk back, the pullback is not over yet. Watch for the return. Your buddy CJ's saying it. Don't bet against me. Don't you bet against me, car guys. Get ready for the return of the Hemi, the return of the Volvo diesel. I'm telling you, it's coming. Is Volvo going to be all EV by 2030? Not if they want to stay in business. Write it down. Take it to the bank. There's no way Volvo goes all EV by 2030. Probably a big mistake for them to stop making diesel engines. Listen, history could prove me wrong. Totally possible, but I doubt it. I think your buddy CJ's right on this one. Leave me comments and let me know what you think. On this topic, guys, let's keep going. I got something else here for you. So, on the topic of EV and new emissions requirements, recently the Environmental Protection Agency here in the United States released new regulation that was finalized, related to emissions for internal combustion engines as well as EV projections. And I'll tell you, interesting thing to note is that the EPA had to what? They had to walk back and reduce their requirements. They had to reduce their estimates. Originally, what they were talking about here was by 2030 to 2032, the EPA in the United States wanted to see 67% of consumer vehicles and light trucks as EV. 67% of new vehicles being EV by 2030 to 2032. No way. That was unrealistic when they originally said it, and they had to adjust this before they went live. And the finalized version of the regulation has been walked all the way back to 30% to 56% by 2030 to 2032. Now, industry analysts and your buddy CJ still think that's overly optimistic. There is no way. Write it down. Take it to the bank. EPA, you're wrong. Knock, knock. Your buddy CJ's at the door. U.S. Department of Environmental Protection Agency, you're wrong. Your estimates and expectations around EV adoption in the United States are still way off. They've reduced their expectations to at least 30% EV by 2030. It's not going to happen. Their estimates are 30% to 56%, down from their original estimate of 67% by 2030 to 2032. No way. It is not going to happen. What's happened here is that the government expectations have grossly exceeded consumer demand, have grossly exceeded consumer readiness and infrastructure readiness for EVs. This narrative is not going to work. Get ready for more rollbacks, more pullbacks. EV manufacturers are not thriving right now. Yes, there's still some growth for EVs. That's true, but the growth has slowed significantly. Okay? EVs are sitting on lots, and they are going to continue to sit on lots. So EPA just announced these new requirements, new expectations, not only for vehicle emissions, but for EV adoption in the U.S. Get ready for further adjustment. Get ready for repeal and amendment. This cannot stand. Your buddy CJ said it. Now, guys, leave me comments. Let me know what you think. Guys, I wanted to come on here tonight and talk about just a few snippets from the news, things that gearheads and car guys and car girls are interested in. Look, we have a lot of fun around here, whether we're talking about exotic cars or classic cars or muscle cars, what's going on in industry, automotive events, rallies, road trips, car shows, you name it. Guys, keep those comments coming. Give me a like and subscribe. Okay, give me a follow. Hot Seat Gearheads on Instagram. Your buddy CJ loves you, and I can't wait to talk to you again on the next one. Till then, take care of yourself. Peace.